Hello everyone, today we are going to present our Learning to Learn module, Eating Right. First, let me introduce our group members. We are Nazura Muhammad Darus, Halimah Hazira Hassan, Nur Amira Nordin, and Amira Sabila Sohor. In this presentation, we are going to talk about three activities or three learning modules, which is Activity 1, Activity 2, and Activity 3. In creating the module, we have referred to Unit 5, Eating Right, CFR Year 4 English textbooks. Today, we will explore a series of engaging activities designed to help students develop healthy eating habits. These activities are crafted using strategies from the Oxford Strategy Inventory for Language Learning. Now, let us look at the Activity 1. The title for Activity 1 is What Food Do You Want? There are two classifications of strategies being used in this activity or this module. The first one is direct strategy, which involves memory strategies and cognitive strategy. The second one is indirect strategy, which focuses on social strategies and affective strategies. The purpose of this module is to reinforce vocabulary by helping people recall and remember the names of food they have previously learned. The second one is to foster higher order thinking skill by encouraging pupils to name and combine ingredients creatively to make the dishes they desire. Last but not least, it helps to promote active participation and confidence by encouraging pupils to participate actively and speak confidently using simple English sentences. The main ideas of the activities are to encourage people to remember the name of foods and ingredients to complete a task. Next, it enhances pupil critical thinking by combining ingredients to prepare a dish. And lastly, it helps to boost pupil motivation and confidence in speaking simple English sentences through a role play. Alright, now let us look at the activities and the stages that involve. The first one is pre-lesson stage, where teachers show flashcards or laminated pictures of the food that people have learned in previous lesson. People will need to name the food correctly. Basically, at this stage, people need to use memory strategies because they need to use their prior knowledge or previous knowledge in naming or remembering the name of the food to enable them to answer the question correctly. Now, this is the examples of laminated pictures or the flashcard that teacher can use for this activity. The next phase is lesson delivery. At this stage, people will need to use memory and cognitive strategies. To do the activity, teacher needs to ask students, what food do you want and what do you need to make it? Teacher uses picture to show an examples and guide people to identify the correct ingredient to make a specific food. For example, if the student answer, I want to have an omelette, then they should be able to tell that they need eggs, cheese, and milk to make this specific food. After that, teacher can direct people to page 49 on Get Smart Plus 4 textbook, question number 3, to look at the other examples. This is how it looks like on page 49. As you can see, there are 5 more examples. So teacher can keep on asking, what food do you want? And student will answer, I want a sandwich, for example. And then they will need to be able to tell, we need some bread, cheese, and tomatoes. So they just need to look at the picture and name the ingredient correctly again. So here, they use their memory strategies and also cognitive strategy to be able to tell correctly what are the ingredients needed to make specific food. The next phase is lesson delivery. At this phase, cognitive, social, and affective strategies will be used. For this third activity, teacher will group students into two groups, which is group A and group B. Then teacher prepare two sets of laminated pictures of ingredient, and teacher asks the next question to the student. What food do you want and how can we prepare the food? For example, like sandwich, salad, pizza, or pancake. Then teacher pastes the picture of the food on the whiteboard, while students will take turn to come forward, one person from each group, to select and paste the ingredients to make the food correctly on the whiteboard. Teacher can guide people by stating the number of the ingredients needed. The fastest to finish will be rewarded a sticker, but only if they make the correct combinations of the ingredients. This is how we can do this activity with the student. Can you see the pictures? Teacher will paste picture of pizza or sandwich or pancake in front on the whiteboard, and the student will need to solve the puzzle, the question mark there, with the correct pictures of ingredient to make that specific food. So this is how the reward system can be done by using sticker reward. So if the student get the answer correctly, they will get one sticker for their group. Here, we emphasize on effective strategy because by giving them reward, they will feel more motivated to participate actively in this kind of activity. Now let us move on to the last stage, which is post-lesson. At this stage, we emphasize on cognitive, social, and affective strategy. People work in pair to do a simple role play entitled Let's Go to a Market, where we need two peoples, people A and people B. People A will ask people B, what food do you want? And people B will need to answer, I want a or I want and name the food. People A will say, okay, we need to buy some this and this and this, which is the ingredients of the food. And people B will decide, oh, that's correct or that's incorrect. While making the conversation, people A must pick the ingredient, which is the laminated peaches, mention in the role play, and place them in the basket. It's like how they will be do at the market. They will pick, they will choose, and put the stuff in the basket, right? So people B will decide if the answers or the ingredient selected is correct. As a closure, people will be assigned with an activity in their digital workbook on the live worksheet platform under the topic What do you want to eat? This is the example of the online task that can be assigned for the student. The reason why I choose an online task because I want the student to have variety in their learning, and because my student have already got their digital workbook on live worksheet platform. So they really love this activity, and it can be used as an enrichment activity, or teacher can set it as a homework for the student. As for the evaluation, people will be given an online evaluation sheet to rate how well they have understood the lesson for the day and how they feel about it. They will need to complete it after they have done their online assignment. It can be accessed through their digital workbook as well, as part of their homework or as part of the final activity in the classroom. This one also optional because if the school doesn't have good internet connection or they don't have device, they can always print out the evaluation form and just distribute it to each of the pupil and get them to do it offline in the classroom by reading the question correctly and circle one of the emoji face to represent their feeling about today's lesson. For example, the question will be, how do you feel about activity 1? Name the food in the picture. Then people will just need to choose one emoji face and circle the best one that can describe their feeling. Lastly, variation. This lesson is adaptable to various proficiency levels among pupils. The strategies employed can be applied to other topics in the Year 4 English syllabus and also across different standards. Note that Activity 4, which is the online task, is optional and can be either omitted or assigned as homework or can be used as an enrichment activity for the advanced students. Evaluation also can be done online or offline depending on the suitability of the class use. That's all for activity 1, and let's move on to activity 2. Thank you.
Next, I will explain about activity 2. The title for activity 2 is Food is Life. First of all, I will start with the classification of strategy. For this activity, there will be 3 strategies involved, which are memory strategy, cognitive strategy, and social strategy. Next, for the purpose of strategies, this activity focuses on 2 skills, which are reading and writing. For main ideas and usage, the first one is to train pupils to find specific information in a text and collaborate with other pupils to write a simple story. Now, let's find out how to do this activity. Firstly, teacher writes 4 words on the whiteboard: breakfast, snack, lunch, and dinner. Next, teacher shares what she eats for breakfast, snack, lunch, and dinner. This step is really important to activate students' prior knowledge and acts as an introduction to the topic. Pupils are asked to recall what they ate for breakfast that morning and write them in their exercise books. This is where memory strategy occurs. Next, teacher distributes worksheet A to the students. Pupils read a short story entitled What Tony Had and complete a graphic organizer identifying what Tony ate for breakfast, snack, lunch, and dinner. This worksheet was developed based on Year 4 textbook and it was adapted from an online source as shown. Teacher gave pupils 10 minutes to complete the task given. Pupils check their answer with the help from teacher. Next, teacher explains the second activity to pupils. Pupils are divided into groups of 3. This is where social strategy occurs. Next, all groups are required to think and write short notes about what Julia had based on 4 keywords: breakfast, snack, lunch, and dinner in worksheet B as shown. Then, they are asked to write their short stories based on the notes on a mahjong paper. Pupil can use the text in activity 1 as a guidance for them to write their own short stories. Teacher gives 20 minutes to pupils to complete activity 2. A few groups are randomly chosen to present their stories, and lastly, pupils choose the best story of the day. For evaluation, pupils are given an evaluation form to decide on the effectiveness of all the strategies and activity used. They need to circle 1 emoticon only. This evaluation form is crucial to get their feedback on deciding if the strategies and activities used were either useful or not useful. And finally, for variation part, this Food is Life activity can be used to other pupils with low to moderate proficiency levels. But when teachers want to use this activity for students with higher proficiency level, they are encouraged to change Appendix 1 to a longer and more complex text with more challenging vocabulary, because as we can see just now, the text for Appendix 1 is actually quite simple.
Now, moving on to the third activity, My Secret Recipe. This activity focuses on memory strategies, metacognitive strategies, and social strategies. The purpose of this activity is to foster pupils' creativity as they combine various ingredients to create their own recipe. It also enhances pupils' critical thinking as they analyze, synthesize, and justify their recipe choices. The purpose of this activity is also to promote practical application for pupils to apply their theoretical knowledge of the recipes in their real-life scenarios. And it also helps support collaborative learning as pupils work together with teammates. The main ideas of this activity is to engage pupils in a creative and collaborative task where they design simple recipes using given ingredients in groups. And this activity also enables pupils to apply background knowledge in a practical context, enhance their critical thinking abilities, and learn to work effectively in teams. Now, let's look at the steps of conducting this activity. As for the introduction, first, pupils talk about the food that they know or have experience making at home and state the ingredients to make the food. This will help pupils to recall back the food that they have learned in the previous lesson or reconnect their personal experience of making food at home. Next, pupils talk about certain ingredients and what are the other food that they can make out of that particular ingredients. For example, flour in making waffle and flour can be also used to make pizza. Next, as for the presentation, pupils listen to the teacher's explanation on the procedures to prepare the food using sequencers such as first, second, next, then, and lastly. Next, practice. At this stage, pupils are given a worksheet about my secret recipe. You may refer to Appendix 1. Pupils get in pairs or small groups and plan a simple or special menu based on ingredients given in the worksheet. At this stage, metacognitive strategies is involved as pupils have to plan the menu, monitor the ingredients selected to prepare the menu, and evaluate their choices of ingredients to prepare the recipe and what make it special. After that, pupils exchange the worksheet with other pairs or groups and share the recipes that other groups have planned in Think, Pair, Share activity. And then, pupils return back the worksheet and evaluate the activities that they have done in groups. They have to discuss in groups, choose and circle the emojis that represent their emotions in the worksheets provided. As for the production stage, pupils are given the other worksheet after the previous activity. You may refer to Appendix 2. Pupils choose one recipe based on the recipes that they have planned previously. Pupils discuss in groups and write the procedures of preparing the recipe that they have decided using sequencers such as first, next, then, and lastly. At this stage, metacognitive strategy is involved as pupils have to carefully plan their recipes using the sequencers, monitor the procedures that they have planned whether it's tally with each other, and evaluate the procedures that they have planned whether it can be understood or comprehended by other people who's reading it. Next, pupils present the work in one stay and three strays activity. At this stage, pupils who stay have to present and pupils who stray have to take note of other groups' recipes and their specialty. This activity enables pupils to brush up their social skills as they have to approach other groups and inquire their friends what is the specialty of their recipes. Then, pupils who stray are chosen randomly by the teacher to share about other groups' recipes and their specialty. At this stage, we will know whether pupils still memorize their friends' work, which is their recipes and what is so special about their recipes. And last but not least, the closure. Pupils write about the lesson of the day. In the sticky notes given by the teacher, they may write about their feelings, the new words that they have learned, or the ideas to make the lesson better in the parking lot given. That is their own self-assessment. And as for peer assessments, pupils will evaluate the other group's work by giving them stickers while doing gallery walk. And here are the evaluation of the strategies that I have mentioned just now while conducting the activity. Self-assessment. Pupils evaluate the activities in groups by circling the emojis that represent their emotions in the worksheets provided. Pupils who circle bored or satisfactory or average emojis will be approached by the teacher whether they are not really happy with the activity conducted or they have other personal issues. Next, peer assessment. Pupils evaluate the other group's work by giving them stickers while doing gallery walk. Groups who receive the most stickers will be announced at the end of the lesson. And lastly, pupils will also do self-reflection by writing about the lesson of the day. This includes their feelings, the new words of the day, and ideas to make the lesson better in the parking lot provided in the classroom. Next, this activity can be varied by introducing cultural cuisine, seasonal ingredients, and budget-friendly meals. In order to cater multiracial classroom, this activity can be adapted into cultural cuisine exploration, whereas the pupils will be able to explore and create recipes based on different cultures. They can approach and inquire from pupils of other culture and races to learn about their cultural cuisine. This activity will promote pupils' thinking skill as pupils have to analyze and synthesize the ingredients in making that particular cultural cuisine, and also helps promote pupils' social skill. Other than that, this activity can be adapted into seasonal ingredients challenge. By introducing seasonal ingredients or food, pupils will learn about seasonal food and let pupils think about other ingredients to replace them if they are not available. This activity will help promote pupils' critical thinking and prepare pupils to be a quick problem solver for the future. And last but not least, this activity can be adapted into budget-friendly meals as pupils think of a recipe which is low budget based on the ingredients list of prices. Or teacher can prepare or plan a budget and pupils have to think and pick the ingredients that suit the budget. I think that's all from our group. Thank you for listening. Bye!